13-year-old boy submerged in icy waters for more than half an hour is dead tonight.
Malden Mills employees get a harsh reality check along with their last paycheck.
And the sound of the season, the Vienna Boys Choir in perfect harmony at Symphony Hall. Good evening, I'm Lila Orbach.
And I'm Roy Hobbs. A 7-year-old boy who was underwater for more than 30 minutes after his sled plunged through thin ice in Hyde Park has died.
Sunday afternoon, Billy Doherty was sliding on Suicide Hill on the George Wright Golf Course when he landed in a pond. An 11-year-old friend went in after him but couldn't find Billy and ran for help. Responding firefighters searched the pond bottom with a rake for 10 minutes before they found Billy and resuscitated him, but he died at 6:30 tonight. City officials have now decided to put up a chain-link fence around that pond.
Another youngster is still fighting for his life after falling through ice. This time it happened on Cape Cod. A 9-year-old boy was pulled from the ice on a Dennis pond tonight. Divers worked for about 20 minutes to rescue young Russell Bickel.
As soon as I went under, I saw him, and it was just swim down and pick him up. You know, the visibility was fine, so it wasn't hard to locate him. But he was dressed in black clothing, so you couldn't see him from the surface.
Officials say the boy was in cardiac arrest when he was rescued. Tonight, he is in guarded condition in intensive care at Boston City Hospital. Some harsh reminders tonight that New England's lakes and ponds are not safe despite our recent cold snap, and now another winter storm is headed our way. Meteorologist Tim Kelly has been watching it closely. He joins us now with the UPN 38 first forecast. Tim?
Roy, the snow is not far away. Temperatures are cold, and starting off in the morning, it's going to be just cold and dry. Dress warmly, but be prepared for delays by lunchtime. Snowflakes are going to start to fall, and during the ride home, we're going to have to compete with snow plows and falling snow. Temperatures going up to near 32. Snow may start to mix with rain tomorrow night, resulting in an icy mess on Friday morning as well. It looks like about 4 inches of snow tomorrow afternoon, and then it's not over. We'll talk more about this 5-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Lila?
Thank you, Tim. Dozens of people remain displaced tonight from Monday's massive mill fire in Methuen. UPN 38's Susan Raff spoke to some of the people who are waiting to go home. She joins us now from Methuen with the very latest. Good evening.
Good evening. This holiday season will certainly be a test of faith for many here in Methuen. Some of those injured in the fire will spend this holiday in the hospital, and more than 2,000 workers are now jobless. But despite this tragedy, there is a feeling here throughout the community, a feeling that things will get better.
I'm going to bring my children to school every day, and I'm going to visit my family. Then I come back here.
Ophelia Bobadilla will spend the next few days in a hotel. She and several other families who live near Malden Mills cannot go home. Their houses were damaged by smoke, and until city officials say it's okay for them to return, they will live here. Catherine Guerrero is thankful that no one she knows was hurt in the explosion, but feels a sense of desperation.
I remember this morning, I was at work. I went to my job and I started crying. Couldn't stand it. I mean, it's really hard.
At least 6 families are staying at the Tage Inn in Andover. The Red Cross is picking up the tab. Tonight, many spirits were lifted with a special visit from the Archbishop of Boston, Bernard Cardinal Law.
I think you are Santa Claus.
You think I'm Santa Claus?
Thank you.
Earlier in the day, Cardinal Law, along with state and community leaders, pledged their support to help workers and their families rebuild their lives.
The church is certainly committed to being present in the first instance to the immediate need of those who have been affected by this fire.
The owner of the mill says he's committed to his workers and has every intention of building a new plant.
It's not a question of odds in this world. It's a question of will and determination, and we have it and we'll do it.
In the meantime, the next few weeks and months will be difficult ones as workers and their families struggle to make ends meet. But they, too, are optimistic about what the future can bring.
I have all the faith in the world in Mr. Feuerstein, because he's a people person, and he's going to get that thing going as fast as he can, and he's going to put us all back to work.
The mill fire has taken its toll both emotionally and financially. The state says it's doing what it can to cut through some of the red tape and help workers get unemployment as soon as possible. And some of that money could come as early as next week. In Methuen, I'm Susan Raff for UPN 38 Prime News.
All right, thank you, Susan. Roy?
For thousands of people affected by the fire, the time to rebuild their lives began today, just 2 weeks before Christmas. UPN 38 reporter Davita Wright has the latest on efforts to assist this devastated community.
Very bad. Don't feel good.
RAFEL MARTE is in what mental health workers call the shock stage. The reality of the Malden Mills fire is setting in, and he's trying to deal with how he will take care of his family until there is work again.
This time is a special time for my family, for my kids, for pressing, everybody's down, and there's no celebration. I don't know.
RAFEL has been looking for help at the temporary Disaster Information Center, but any relief from the Department of Employment or Transitional Assistance will take a while.
They have to prove their income and they have to prove their expenses. So once they get their unemployment check, they should be able to go down there and make the application.
Many of the Malden Mills employees are facing this situation, and the Department of Mental Health counselors are telling people their feeling of frustration and helplessness is normal, but will pass.
People are anxious, as they should be. They've just gone through a traumatic event, and their lives have dramatically changed and impacted, and they're trying to learn how to cope with something they haven't coped with before.
Not knowing how long it could be before assistance is available, workers started lining up an hour before the doors were open to receive what could be their last paychecks for a while. In addition to the 2-week check, employees also received a grocery gift certificate, a much-needed bonus for the days ahead. And for people who wanted to help but had nothing to give but themselves, a blood drive at Valley Medical Associates drew donors from as far as Fitchburg.
The company that I work for, which is Rometech in Fitchburg, we're in kind of a similar business, and thought that, our friends at Malden have come on hard times, and a lot of us thought, what can we do to help?
And that was UPN 38 reporter Davita Wright. Several area banks have set up funds to help Malden Mills workers. If you'd like to help, you can contact the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce at 264 Essex Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts, 01840. The telephone number there is area code 508-686-0900.
Citing the recent deaths of several children under DSS care, a top federal official says he may push for a court takeover of the state agency. U.S. Health and Human Services Regional Director Philip Johnston says the widely publicized cases of child abuse have led him to question whether social workers are being given the resources they need to protect children in Massachusetts. Now, Johnston says that unless he sees some quick progress, he'll recommend that a federal judge assume control of DSS. Governor Weld says that would be a disaster. No bail for a 22-year-old Raina man accused of beating his girlfriend's 14-month-old baby to death. Eric Peters pleaded not guilty at his arraignment in Taunton District Court today. Paramedics found little Justin Bento's body covered with bruises. The mother has not been charged in the case. A 23-year-old mental patient accused of kidnapping a 4-month-old baby in Mashpee will spend the next few weeks undergoing psychiatric tests. Jacqueline Savoy was arrested last night after an off-duty firefighter spotted her stolen car in Medford. She told police that the son of actor Tony Curtis told her to take the infant. The baby was not harmed.
A Boston teenager accused of killing another teen for his leather jacket and gold chain is being held without bail tonight. Prosecutors say 17-year-old Anthony Robinson confessed that he was the trigger man in the robbery and murder of honor student Barrington Nevins last month. Robinson pleaded not guilty at his arraignment today. Prosecutors say they have 2 witnesses who can identify Robinson as the shooter. Even as President Clinton heads to Paris to witness a historic treaty signing, the Senate is still debating the U.S. role in Bosnia. In news around the nation tonight, senators did vote to fund the deployment of U.S. troops, but Mr. Clinton left the White House without a clear endorsement of the Bosnia mission from Congress. Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy spoke in support of the mission on the Senate floor today.
Now that all sides in Bosnia have chosen peace themselves, the United States is in a position to lead NATO in over 25 nations around the globe, including Russia, in an unprecedented effort that is also a limited but clearly needed effort to continue the peace and give it time to stick.
Mr. Clinton and several other European leaders will be witnesses as the three Balkan leaders sign the Dayton Treaty tomorrow.
The threat of another partial government shutdown is putting pressure on Democrat and Republican budget negotiators. Protesters gathered in front of the Capitol today to get their point across. The Clinton administration is urging Republicans to pass a new temporary spending measure to avoid another shutdown when the current resolution expires Friday at midnight.
They're accused of plotting together to bomb the Oklahoma Federal Building, but in court today, they acted like they never even knew each other. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols avoided eye contact at their first joint hearing. Arguments centered on whether to make public the amount the court-appointed attorneys for the defense were being paid.
Coming up next on UPN 38 Prime News, are there changes ahead for Bank of Boston and Baybank customers? You can bet on it.
And bad weather may be to blame for a deadly plane crash in Italy. Stay with us.
The best news at 10. This is UPN 38 Prime News.
Barry White's interlude in Nassau, the islands of the Bahamas. It just keeps getting better.
There's so much in this country that belongs to everyone. No matter how different we are, we all have something in common. There's a thread that weaves us all together. It's me. It's you. It's Tommy. The new American fragrance from Tommy Hilfiger. Available at Filene's.
Come to Woodworker's Warehouse, where you'll find more discounted power and hand tools under one roof than you've ever seen before. Like this Porter Cable Profile Sander Kit. This revolutionary sander gets into all the hard-to-reach areas. The exclusive inline motion sands at 6,000 strokes per minute. Kit includes profile and mounting attachments, 17 profile shapes, dust collection wand, hook and loop pad, and case. All this for just $119.95. With over 90 locations throughout the Northeast, at Woodworker's Warehouse, you'll always find the right tool at the right price.
For those who've been especially good this year, your GMC dealer has a new Jimmy with over 70 cubic feet of cargo space. And, of course, a low step-in height. Plus a special offer, gift wrap just for you. Hope you've been good, for goodness sake. Happy holidays from your GMC dealers.
A deadly plane crash in northern Italy today.
It was snowing and windy when the Romanian turboprop airliner took off from the Villafranca airport. It crashed less than a mile from the end of the runway just outside Verona, killing all 49 people on board. Most of the passengers were Italian, with the rest from the former Yugoslavia and the Netherlands.
Some are calling the latest Boston bank merger a marriage made in heaven, but what does the Bank of Boston and Baybanks deal mean for consumers? UPN 38's Mont Fennell tries to make dollars and cents out of this whole transaction.
Bay Bank of Boston. I just love that name, Bay Bank of Boston.
Sure, it's a catchy name, but what's behind it? With the new merger, 85 branches will be shut down. Some say that means fewer choices, and because there's less competition, potentially higher fees.
Fees on ATM service, fees on bounce checks. It's called nickeling and diming you to death.
Even so, for Baybanks customers, the combined company gives them a stronger bank with even more branches to bank at. And for Bank of Boston customers, well, they'll have more products to choose from.
Whether it's a credit card, the consumer loan, the automobile loan, the home equity loan, those are things that Baybanks have been very good at.
Still, many customers are not pleased with the merger.
You know, you come into a bank and you know the people and they know you. You go into these
conglomerates and you're just somebody off the street.
In fact, some observers estimate as Fleet and Shawmut begin their recently completed merger, that new bank will lose up to 20% of its customers to the competition. And that's where smaller banks come in. Cambridgeport Bank has put together an aggressive advertising campaign designed to lure unhappy customers away from BayBanks and Bank of Boston.
It says, you know, are you worried about what's down the road for your bank? Are you worried that you won't have the same branch manager? Are you worried that you'll have a new statement, a new account number? If so, take a look at us.
So the battle is heating up for your banking buck, because this mega merger may not be in everybody's interest. Mont Fennell, UPN 38 Prime News, Boston.
Sports is next on UPN 38 Prime News. The Bruins try to put the Rangers' home winning streak on the skid.
And a New England artist sees his work go from the page to the big screen. A preview of Jumanji is coming up.
Everyone loves gifts like these. The big question is, where are you going to buy them? Some shopping mall where you're paying for the fake statues in the atrium? I think not. Not when you can join BJ's Wholesale Club with your Discover card and get an extra month's membership free. BJ's has the Oster Deluxe Bread and Dough Maker. Just add the free premix and hit start. Homemade bread without asking Aunt Hilda for help. End the mall madness. Make it BJ's Wholesale Club for the holidays. Oh, did I mention our imported cheeses go great with fresh bread?
Got your eye on Power Rangers action figures? Got a coupon? Oops! Shop Walmart for your kids, where you always save on toys. With coupons, you save sometimes. With Walmart, always. Got your eye on Playschool's musical dream screen? Got a coupon? Shop Walmart for your kids, where you always save on toys. With coupons, you save sometimes. With Walmart, always.
Isn't 90s technology marvelous? Look at the Hewlett-Packard OfficeJet, a wonderful device allowing Father to print, fax, and copy, all from one machine. So now he can leave the office and finish his work at home in a relaxed environment that promotes paternal bonding and results in increased productivity.
The HP OfficeJet printer, fax, copier. A better way to go to work.
Check my pants, Daddy. I've been productive, too.
He's smart looking in that Manhattan dress shirt and tie.
Yeah, smart enough not to pay a bundle.
All you care about is cost.
And quality and comfort.
Oh, like those wrinkle-free pants? They won't put a wrinkle in your budget.
Now you're getting it.
I've been around the block a few times.
Great clothes at great prices. I call that value.
I call that Manhattan. Whoops, gotta go now.
It's a dog's life. Someone else is always taking your girl out.
Manhattan collections for every member of the family. Almost.
Some good news. The Celtics have now won as many games as they've lost.
Positive information for
That's
you.
correct.
It sure
Situation.
is. And you got a positive coach in the driver's seat. I think it's time for people to give a little credit where credit's due, don't you? ML Carr, for all of his inexperience in coaching and general managing, has got the Celtics to the 500 mark. That with a win tonight over the Sixers of Philadelphia situation. First quarter action, Sixers running early. Stackhouse, the feed to Weatherspoon, and he dunked it. He had 12 in the first quarter. Celtics answering. Eric Williams takes Trevor Wilson to school and to the hoop. Gets the bucket and the foul. Game tied at 23 after the first quarter. Let's go to the second now. Williams again. This time, baseline action. Right around Stackhouse. Williams with 14 in the first half. Celtics with a 6-point lead. 51-45. Third quarter, Celtics on defense. D. Brown, the steal, and the D. dunk. Yes! Celtics by 16. Time running down. Third, Dana Barros finds D. Brown. The three-pointer beats the buzzer. Celtics had a big lead after three. 85-68. Fourth quarter, Celtics continue running the floor. David Wesley, the reverse layup. Celtics go on to win by 11. 111-100. The Lakers with a 3-point margin of victory over the Pistons. The Bulls beat the Magic tonight. And there's your fourth quarter score. Spurs-Sonics. It's 6-point Sonics lead. Spurs lead, I should say. Their Rangers have been resurrected, I guess you could say, after their bad follow-up season to their Stanley Cup last year. But how about the Bruins? Some fans a little afraid of their lack of defense. Tonight they didn't have a whole lot of offense. Shots, yes. Goals, no. This is Rangers against the Bees. And in the first period, 58 seconds in, Chinoweth kicks the puck behind the net. Messier puts it in. Steve Casper not happy about that. 1-0 Rangers later in the first. 37 seconds left. Luke Robitaille. The shot. The save by Billington. Ray Ferraro knocks in the rebound. And the Rangers up 2-0. Once again, Casper not pleased. Second period. The Bruins get on the board. Teddy Donato would take the feed from Steve Leach on a 3-on-1. Fakes the slapper. Shoots. He scores past Mike Richter. It was 2-1. Still in the second. Kiprios would knock one in. Knock one toward Billington, who would make the save, but Kiprios would knock in his rebound, too. So the Rangers took a lead they would never relinquish. They win it by a score of 4-2 tonight over those Bees. Elsewhere in the National Hockey League, the Lightning 3, the Hartford Whalers only 2. The Sabres lead the Avalanche by 1, and it's over. In Detroit, the Red Wings have beaten the Blackhawks 3-1. Peter McNeely upped his record to 38-2 last night by beating up some doctor guy, Dr. Shivago, or... No, it was Dr. Marcus Welby. I'm sorry. It was noted Florida orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Harold Reitman. The 43-year-old good doctor donates all of his fighting purse to charity. It took Peter only 2.5 minutes in the first round to dispose of the orthopedic surgeon. No word on who McNeely will fight next. We hear it'll be either an accountant or an insurance adjuster. Just when you think the Packers have a chance to do something in the NFC in the postseason, they lose their best defensive player for the entire year. Reggie White, the all-pro defensive end, done for the season after sustaining a hamstring situation and sitting out the OT loss to Tampa last weekend. He will not be back in 1995. He will have surgery this week, and that's got to hurt for the Green Bay Packers. Oh, yeah. Rumor has he's going to go see Dr. Harold Reitman.
I don't get it.
Who's not busy this
week.
I
don't get it. With all due respect to the doctor and to Peter McNeely, why would Peter McNeely get into the ring with this orthopedic surgeon, 40-something, after Mike Tyson?
Well, maybe he figures if he gets hurt, then there's someone right there to help him out.
Fix right there on the spot.
And why would the doctor get in the ring with Peter McNeely?
Maybe he figures he won't get hurt.
Or he wants to find out what it's like to feel like one of his patients.
Yeah, hard to tell. Really hard to figure that one out.
All right. Thank you, Mike. He's a New England author who makes his living creating wild adventures for children.
And now his ideas have leaped from the pages of children's books to the silver screen. Tonight, UPN 38's Tracy Grant talks to the author of Polar Express and Jumanji.
Many writers fantasize about one of their works becoming a staple in literature, something that strikes a chord in readers across the world. Chris Van Allsburg is no different.
I probably had that fantasy for a few minutes, too, when I finished the Polar Express, but this one remarkably actually fulfilled the fantasy.
Polar Express, in its 10 years in print, has sold more than 1 million copies. East Providence resident Van Allsburgh is one of the most successful and acclaimed children's book authors in the world. His words have influenced the thoughts and fantasies of children for 16 years.
I like the idea that my books are in every school library, and maybe that there's not a minute in daylight hours when there's not at least one kid in America who's got a Chris Van Allsburgh book open, and that makes me pretty happy.
The juxtaposition of images, the unpredictability of reality. That's what Jumanji is all about.
Somehow I latched onto this idea of a jungle board game that came to life, and the things that happened on the game board manifested themselves in reality.
That board game unleashes a flood of bizarre events for 2 children. They're all part of the peculiar visions and stories that fuel the imagination of the award-winning children's book author and illustrator. The end result, although quite different from his 30-page book, is a film he says he likes. In the future, he says he will ask for a bit more control over the product, so his films, like his books, will spark a child's own imagination. Tracy Grant, UPN 38 Prime News.
I can't wait to see that movie. It looks like it's going to be lots of fun. All right, coming up next here on UPN 38 Prime News.
We've got a tall tale to tell you, and we'll take you to Andover for a first-hand look at the story.
And I'll tell you how much snow is going to fall on your Christmas tree tomorrow, coming right up.
I look at you, and I see myself.
I look at you, and I see my world.
As long as we're together, time can't touch us.
Eternity for Men. Calvin Klein. This holiday edition is $65 value for $45. Exclusively at Filene's.
People come to Service Merchandise for lots of different reasons. It's price, it's quality, it's service, Shopping today is truly a social activity. It's an escape. It's fun. And the customers whip out their American Express card. They're making a wise selection. People use it to enjoy life.
It's Caldor's best holiday one-day sale. Thursday, 6 a.m. to midnight, save 20 to over 70%. Save on Barbie and Fisher-Price toys, men's and women's knit tops, men's pro-team outerwear, and all gold and gemstone jewelry. Thursday, 6 a.m. to midnight. Merry Christmas from Caldor.
Time magazine calls Heat awesome, truly epic, wholly original, a masterpiece. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, a Michael Mann film. Heat, rated R. Starts Friday, December 15th at a theater near you.
From the fact file tonight, for the first time, doctors have an emergency treatment for strokes. The clot-dissolving drug TPA can help victims escape the permanent brain damage that leads to paralysis and loss of speech. But doctors say TPA must be given in the first 3 hours, where the drug can do more harm than good, triggering disastrous and potentially fatal bleeding in the brain. The study is in this week's New England Journal of Medicine.
The idea of rating video games on their violence content is catching on. A report card on ratings issued by the National PTA finds that at least 80% of video games on the market are rated. 2 years ago, there was no rating system. Retailers are getting a bad rap when it comes to ratings. Many have reportedly refused to commit to selling only rated videos.
The holiday spirit is soaring to new heights in Andover. The town can now boast the country's tallest Christmas tree. The Norwegian spruce is 95 feet tall. That's 25 feet taller than the tree at Rockefeller Center, 30 feet taller than the one at Walt Disney World, and nearly double the size of the Prudential Center tree.
You know, and while we're on the subject of talking about trees and Christmas, it's time for us to get down to business on tomorrow's snowstorm. Meteorologist Tim Kelly joins us now with the latest on that. Tim?
How appropriate, Roy. We're hoping that some of the snow is going to stick around and fall for the holiday. And I'd say on the rate we're going, it's going to be a white Christmas for most of New England. Tomorrow, we're just adding to the big pile. There are already 6 inches of snow solid at lowest elevations across northern New England. We're talking about 3 or 4 feet in the mountains already. And tomorrow, it's just going to be another drop in the bucket, about another 4, 5, 6 inches of snow falling from Lowell through Nashua, right up through Concord, Manchester, most of northern New England. The mountains may get even 7 or 8 inches tomorrow and especially tomorrow night. In southern New England, it's going to start snowing during the late morning, so the morning ride is okay. But during the afternoon, the snow is really going to pick up, and we're going to get a solid 3 inches. These 2 and 3 inches could be just a tad conservative. And we're looking at this snowfall to come down during the afternoon and come down fairly hard. On the south coast, it may start to mix with sleet most of the day, rather late in the day. But it looks like mostly snowfall, and we'll be plowing the snow even along Cape Cod for tomorrow afternoon. That obviously is not the right map. This is the right map. 2 to 3 inches of snow by tomorrow evening. We will be plowing, and that's going to turn over to a light rain or drizzle of some sort on Friday. Friday, we're going to get a little break, and then on Saturday, some more snow and rain is going to come our way. Here is the snowfall racing across Pennsylvania and New York. It has just begun to snow at Williamsport right now, and the snow is already into Binghamton. There is some moderate snow already starting to show up in the mountains of western Pennsylvania. Temperatures are in the single numbers, teens and 20s now from north to south. Most of us are going to be down around 0 inland and about 10 to 15 to 20 tomorrow morning across the coastal areas. Here is the big wall of clouds coming across the country. There was a big storm across California, and some of that moisture is coming our way. It's going to show up in the form of snow here tomorrow. So we're going to have less cold, but more white coming this way. And mild air is going to try and come in, and that's going to change the snow to a little drizzle late tomorrow night. But at the lowest elevations, that is by the ground, the temperatures could still be near freezing, so we could end up with a little crust on the snow early Friday. Snowy in the afternoon tomorrow. Temperatures are in the 20s inland, 30s along the coast. Yes, even in Falmouth, we're going to pick up about 3 inches of snow. High temperature of 33, and it'll do a little melting tomorrow night in the Cape. 28 in Weston. Here's the 5-day forecast. For tomorrow, clouds with snow during the afternoon. High temperature basically around freezing. And then on Friday, it's going to get a little bit icy around, but not much going on. Just a little drizzle. Temperatures just above freezing at the coast, just below freezing inland. A really tough call on Friday. And then Saturday, more of a mixture of rain and snow with temperatures in the lower 30s. And then Sunday and Monday, it's going to dry out.
No snizzle?
Snizzle on Friday. That is sort of a freezing, snowy drizzle. That's Friday, yes.
No snizzle.
Right.
Yes, snizzle.
Thank you, Tim. And that's our news for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
In tonight's final note, we leave you with the seasonal sounds of the Vienna Boys Choir performing tonight at Symphony Hall in Boston.
Have a good night, everyone.